Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Hello everyone, welcome to this course on circular economy for sustainable buildings. So last time we saw certain eco-sensitive accessories that could be used for offices. Now we will continue with that and try to understand what all gadgets can be used in offices for resource conservation, which is directly linked to circular economy. So we will look at the fittings or accessories or gadgets or systems that can be used for offices for resource conservation. In this context, today we will look at these four aspects. First is landscaping accessories and certain techniques that can conserve resource. Second is wastewater treatment. Third is at site planning level, street lighting, and fourth is site circulation and IoT based technology used in site planning. So first let us see landscaping accessories and techniques. Now we know that if we have landscaping, then we will need definitely water for irrigating the landscape. So, in order to conserve the resources, one technique that can be used to conserve the water for plantation is through drip irrigation. This is also known as low flow or micro irrigation, and it is also known as trickle irrigation. Here what happens is there is very slow and measured application of water through certain devices. Now the devices are called as emitters. And it is one of the most efficient ways to irrigate. What is done here is water is applied very close to the plant so that only the part of the soil in which the roots grow is become moist, only that gets wetted and become moist. Unlike surface or sprinkler irrigation, in which wetting the whole soil profile happens, which is not really necessary. With drip irrigation, the application is little less frequent than with other methods, because it provides very favorable high moisture level in the soil, in which place it can flourish. So the part of the plant or the root where water is needed most is targeted. So in a way we can call it that it is a targeted water technique. So a wide variety of products have been developed to make drip irrigation reliable and easy to use for any landscaping situation. Drip irrigation can save a lot of water because there is very little lost to runoff or evaporation. As per Griha, the drip irrigation is said to be about 25% more efficient than flood irrigation. So, what is flood irrigation? Here the water is just let loose and it floods the soil. It is 10% more efficient than furrow irrigation and 5% more efficient than sprinkler irrigation. It is also very energy efficient as compared to sprinkler system, as it does not require electrical energy. So here what happens is, at a larger landscaping level, there are these emitters or pipes which go like this from a main tank which already has stored water. Now in this tank you can also add any liquid fertilizer. You should not add anything which is solid, because from this pipe there would actually be another small thin pipe which goes, and through this only water comes out in the form of droplets. So water droplets come out through this, and if the plant is growing like this, you can target this emitter exactly at the root of where you want the plant to be watered. Also, if you see, since these emitters are like this, having a filter with just drops coming out, these emitters are connected to the main pipe like this. There are a number of emitters which come, and what happens is, here if you try to dissolve, this comes from a main tank, this is attached, and if you mix solvent, a fertilizer or anything that you want to add to the root for its nutrient, it should be a liquid solvent and should not have any fibrous thing or anything like that, because that will clog this point from where water trickles out. So this happens in the situation where you need to have a large area to be irrigated. There are various other jugaads that can be done. So here one of this that I show is the where we use a plastic bottle. So suppose somebody has a roof garden or a terrace garden or balcony garden, then it is difficult for you to have this kind of a setup in a balcony garden. So what you do is you follow this mechanism where actually you can take waste bottles and then prick very tiny holes here and embed it close to the root and fill it with water. There is another way. You can have a nozzle like this, and through this nozzle near the root water trickles down slowly, and you just have to refill this frequently. Whereas if you look at the irrigation, drip irrigation of a larger area, here you will have a pressure regulator, because of which the water will not come with great force, but with only the amount of force that is necessary. And then there is this drip tubing, and then you have emitters which are basically pipes which are much thinner in diameter. They are about 5 millimeters in diameter, and at the end of it the water starts dripping, and then you have to ensure that you place this closer to the roots. And this can be followed for anything, for plants in a garden, or it can even be followed for larger groves, say a mango grove or a coconut grove. So for all this, this technique can be easily followed. Then let us look at the next system, which is the smart sprinkler system. So smart sprinkler systems are designed to lower the water consumption without wildly impacting the electricity consumption. It fulfills the water requirements of the plants by monitoring the soil moisture and other environmental parameters. So, a smart sprinkler system will emit water, or it will release water based on the moisture content. This system is based on IoT, and this logs the sensor data to the cloud, and then the person who wants to water the plant can monitor and control all the water pumps remotely over internet through an app. This consists of wireless sensors node, and it also has sensor data attached to the cloud using Wi-Fi module and controlling the pump using a relay. So it is more like an automated system, and it minimizes the need for a human being to actually go there and intervene in the landscaping. Thus, it also increases productivity. So, from your office, you will be able to control watering your farm. It saves a lot of time because you don't have to physically go there every time, and it helps remote monitoring and controlling, and it is very easy to install this system. And it is like very effective if you are working as a professional in a city, but your farm is somewhere back in the village and you still need to monitor. Also, it is very useful for aging farmers who can't keep going to the farm which is far away from the house as they would use to go during their young age. So, under all these situations, this becomes a very easy method where you are operating the entire thing remotely through a smart Wi-Fi irrigation timer. Right. Then we see what is bioswales. So, the third type that we will see is the bioswales. So, bioswales are actually a very aesthetically pleasing alternative to things like a concrete gutter or a storm water sewer, because you employ vegetated low-lying areas or troughs that can use plant materials and specialized soil mixes to treat, absorb, and also make the stormwater flow in its runoff. So, they convey stormwater runoff from a roadway or parking lot or any open space into a storm sewer system or other no means of retention. And these bioswales, they provide landscaping which, depending on the plant species that you choose, can create fantastic habitats for birds or butterflies or any local wildlife. Bioswales can be very effective in any region as we can tailor make it to specific installation location by incorporating native plants. So they can be designed to convey any size storm, but are most effective when you deal with frequent small rain events. Sometimes there can be no hazard mitigation also happening, because hazard mitigation. So, bioswales are able to absorb the runoff from the small rain events, and they treat larger amounts of runoff which are then directed to the larger stormwater management system. In turn, this also reduces the overall runoff volume and flow rate which is received by the larger stormwater system. Then you should have proper siting considerations. So, bioswales are typically linear in nature, and they tend to be parabolic or trapezoidal or V-shaped. So, they are primarily linear in nature like this, but their actual cross section could be a U-shape, a parabolic, or it could be a V-shaped, V-shaped flow. For this reason, bioswales will work very well when you install it in areas such as parking lots or maybe along roadways and sidewalks, or even as enhancement to natural or existing drainage swales. However, they may be constructed in any location provided there is a mild slope. You don't have to have a great slope, because when the storm water flows, it should flow along the natural gradient. So, instead of having a bioswale like this at ground level, or definitely you should not have the bioswale which is upward, then it is absolutely of no value. But you should have it, if this is your ground level, you should have the bioswale with a mild gradient like this, so that the water will flow along the gradient through gravity itself. It can be even less than 5% the slope. So, bioswales are not appropriate in areas which are very steep or unstable slope, because it can even cause erosion. Already the flow of water is very high. On top of that, this is going to add to the velocity of water. So, there are certain costs which are associated when you have bioswales. So, these can include your installation cost and also maintenance. It's important to maintain, because you need to ensure they are not clogged during the rainy season when water is supposed to flow very fast. So, the maintenance cost can obviously be reduced, because you can use native grass or plants that are already adapted to the area, and that can require less water, probably less fertilizer, or almost no pesticides, because they can be the native species. Also, if sediment is not removed periodically, the bioswale may eventually need to be regraded or restored for proper flow. So, what all happens in a bioswale? So, in a bioswale, what happens is, you have a drain with a water purification system, which is this one. It's a drain. See, you see this U-shaped end here? I have just exaggerated in the drawing. Also, there is a creek where there is a main drain, detention and water purification happening, into which the runoff can happen. So, the runoff can happen through this as well as through this creek. And then you can also have a bio pond, which can be used for storing the water, detention of water, purification of water, and you can use it for reuse as and when necessary. Also, the bioswale should have it functions more like a drain and water purification system. So, here is an example. There is a watershed project which is creating bioswales along Richmond Greenway. So, this bioswale captures the storm water and slows it down, keeping the water from flooding the homes. So, the greenway path and nearby streets where it creates potholes, this bioswale helps clean the water bodies. So, this is one function, cleaning the water before it enters the San Francisco Bay. And native plants in the bioswales also create habitat for birds and butterflies. So, first, water flows in. This is dirty water from the neighborhood roads and also rooftops, which enter the bioswale. Next is, the water slows down and it is cleaned, because it has plants, rocks and the dirt which slow water down in the bioswale, giving time for the suspended particles, which are actually pollutants, to settle down. And then this water infiltrates the soil, plants and microbes, and it breaks down some of the pollutants. And after that, the water sinks into the ground. So, infiltration happens. So, this water enters the perforated pore, and where it is slowly absorbed into the ground. This helps in recharge. of groundwater, and it reduces the amount of water that flows into the bay, and then excess stormwater exits this bioswale and flows into the bay, which is cleaner than when it has entered. So, in this watershed project, bioswale has been used and this is how it has functioned. Next, we look at what is called as biomethanation technology, which is used for wastewater treatment. So, a new high rate biomethanation technology, it can be used for an integrated treatment of sewage and organic solid waste, and also no concomitant generation of biogas and biomanure, which treat groundwater and wastewater and convert it into potable water. This can be used for sewage and organic solid waste treatment with decentralized application in various parts. An integrated treatment of sewage along with organic solid waste can help evolve a sustainable technology to overcome the solid and liquid waste disposal issues. So, actually an integrated model plant using these technologies has been established in CSIR Hyderabad, CSIR IICT Hyderabad, for simultaneously treating sewage up to 100 liters per day and organic solid waste up to 250 kg per day. Okay, for generation of value added products such as biogas. So, the outcome can be biogas, biomanure, and also reusable water. So, sewage plus organic waste, both have been used to create biogas, biomanure and reusable water. So, this is an integrated technology. So, in this integrated technology, it is field tested and it is working continuously for at least last 2 years. So, this can be exploited anywhere in the country, and then we can have this reusing and recycling of resource such as sewage and organic waste, which would anyways otherwise be dumped and cause a pollution. So, here what are the basic stages is, you need to have a pre-filter, and after the major filtration, sedimentation happens, and then it goes through, the waste goes through activated carbon and then through a RO membrane, again post carbon, and then it gets converted into healthy drinking water. So, it is actually a nano filtration. Now, if we look at the eco sewage treatment plant, which is actually a electrolytic sewage treatment plant as the next method for wastewater treatment. The eco sewage treatment plant is actually a chemical free sewage treatment technology, which is based on the process of electrocoagulation and electroflocculation. So, it has a certain mechanism, which is the black and grey water is first fed into a holding tank. From the holding tank, it goes to the reaction tank, and in this reaction tank, some seawater can also be pumped or added. Then this waste from the reaction tank is actually sludge, and then this goes back either to the holding tank or it goes to advanced electrolysis cell. Some of the water again goes to the discharge pump for brush away filter. This advanced electrolysis cell again pumps it back to reaction tank until it breaks down completely and then takes to the brush away filter, from where nitrogen removal module happens, which is optional, and then this exits out. So, because of this, what are the advantages? First is, it is a noiseless system. Stopping and restarting is easily possible without any performance issue. So, you have control over its operation, because you can start and switch it on anytime. It's very simple as a gadget, as you can see here in this picture. It's very simple equipment and you can operate it easily. Treated wastewater will give palatable, clear, colorless and odorless water. So, the output water is usable because it is odorless, does not have any added color or anything like that. It's pretty clear. There is low sludge producing techniques because sludge form tends to be readily settleable and easy to dewater. So, this is actually a low sludge technique. Then flocks formed is much larger and contains less bound water, and it is acid resistant and more stable. Hence, it can be separated faster by filtration. There is lower water recovery cost as the effluent produced has less total dissolved solids or TDS. Also, it easily removes the smallest colloidal particle because the applied electric field sets them in faster motion, thereby facilitating the coagulation. So, this electric field will actually break it down into smaller pieces as they keep moving rapidly, and because of that coagulation will happen. And very important is, there is no use of chemical. So, it is actually chemical free. You don't add any chemicals to it. The entire colloidal thing, everything is happening because of the electric field that it passes through. There is complete avoiding use of chemicals. The gas bubbles produced during electrolysis carry the pollutant to the top of the solution where it can be easily removed, which comes out more like a froth. So, this is only the basic principle. I'm just wanting you to know that these techniques are available, but the intention is not to teach you the entire mechanism, but as architects, designers, civil engineers, you should know that such systems exist, and that is our main aim to understand. The next is decentralized anaerobic wastewater treatment system. In centralized treatment, all the wastewater or effluent generated from various sources such as house, hotels, office, these are all collected and taken through an open or covered drain to a centralized treatment plant. Now, most of this is developed by Western countries, and such systems are mostly based on aerobic treatment. Aerobic treatment procedure includes stabilization. So, you need to stabilize the waste that enters in. You need to have trickling filters. You need to have activated sludge process, extended aeration pools, rotating contact beds, etc. But centralized sewage networks need high infrastructure investment. They require very high maintenance cost and they need skilled technicians and manpower, which are again energy consuming. Therefore, decentralized anaerobic waste treatment systems are a more efficient way to deal with pollution. Here what happens is, you have a septic tank or a tank in which waste is collected, and then this goes through baffled reactors where baffle walls are there, and it goes through multiple baffle walls where there is settling happening. Then it can be, the waste can be taken to the biogas plant, and then the water can be led out to any of the things. It can be led to a vertical planted filter or horizontal planted filter, maybe a root zone treatment also. So, anaerobic filter, now from the sludge from below can be taken out and it can be dried and used as manure. So, in this system, this can be used even for single household or smaller size of waste. Water can be treated and it can be discharged and recycled for irrigation. So, the water can be treated so that you can let it out into any other water body after it undergoes the Central Pollution Control Board norms. So, water can be let out into any other body, or we can use it as recycled water, maybe for drip irrigation or for flushing the toilets. Then this does not need skilled labor, so operable with even semi-skilled or unskilled labor. That is a huge advantage, so you do not have to really recruit too many people. Then this does not have any mechanical, this does not have no mechanical systems are involved, no mechanical system involved. So, there is no mechanical parts or anything, does not require large space. So, less space is enough, does not require too much of space. There is no odor. So, no odor, which is again a very important thing. It is less expensive compared to conventional treatment plant. So, it is economic and it has low maintenance cost, low maintenance cost. So, these are all the advantages. Now, let us move on to street lighting, how street lighting can happen. So, as per Bureau of Energy Efficiency India guidelines, a well designed energy efficient street lighting system should permit the users to travel at night with good or considerable visibility in a very safe manner and comfortable manner. At the same time, it should reduce energy use and cost and enhance the appearance of the neighborhood. Because poorly designed lighting systems can lead to poor visibility, or it can even cause light pollution, or sometimes even both. So, outdoor lighting fixtures should provide illumination for improved personal safety. Lighted steps, stairways, walkways, they can help reduce the risk of falls and even injuries. They also add to the aesthetics of the place. Outdoor lighting fixtures can be easily incorporated as part of an eco-friendly landscape design without impacting your existing natural landscape or raising your electricity bills. So, some of the examples of energy efficient outdoor lighting fixtures are: first is LEDs. First is LEDs, light emitting diodes, because light emitting diodes or LEDs, they are a very energy efficient and energy saving contraptions. They consume 90% less power than even a regular benchmark incandescent light bulbs, and this results in a very considerable decrease in energy cost. CFLs can also be used, but LEDs are more energy efficient, and they do not contain the toxic mercury. Human energy is also conserved because LED maintenance and replacement costs are minimal because their lifespan is very long. Second is, we can have local light fixtures. So, what happens when you have local light fixture means localized use of fixtures. So, you don't provide lighting all over the site, but in specific areas where lighting is required. So, the use of locally sourced fixtures not only limits fuel consumption, because you are even focusing it only in the place where you want, but if you also use fixtures which are manufactured in that particular area or locality, then you can reduce the energy for transport of that particular product. And it can also help and develop community business and economics. Third is use of light dimmers. So, first is use of LED, second is used of localized and local fixtures. I will add both, localized and local fixtures, and third is use of dimmers. So, light dimmers, these though they are optional, they can have an huge advantage, because when they are installed, they enable lights to shut off or power down automatically when they are not needed, and this can save a lot of energy. So, there are many examples of efficient street lighting. Say, when you combine the street lighting to be powered with solar PV. So, this is integrated. The lighting system gets its power from the solar grid. Then use of these equipments or contraptions such as LEDs or light dimmers, and then placing them in a localized area and also using the local resources. Then we will look at a very small or interesting new contraption, or a, what shall I say, a very innovative contraption. This is the bio lamp. So, the bio lamp can act as a solution to the increasing problem of carbon dioxide pollution in the world. So, if we look at the bio lamp, which is a carbon dioxide absorbing sustainable lamp. Now, there is a lot of pollution in the air because of CO2. This lamp, which we even call as an algae lamp, this algae lamp draws its power energy from the batteries that are charged by the algae's photosynthesis, and this provides electricity free lighting solutions. Also, the microalgae is more efficient in absorbing carbon dioxide than trees, to such an extent that each lamp can absorb up to 150 to 200 times more carbon dioxide than one tree. So, as with anything, reducing is always better, and it is a much better way or preferable way than restoring. So, it is actually a system, and it is called as the algae cycle, which is present like this. So, it is more like a spiral system of algae plus water. Algae plus water is the algae cycle. So, you have the algae cycle like this, and then there is a ventilator here. So, this absorbs CO2 through a pipe and then it releases oxygen, and also in that process it is able to generate electricity, or it is able to generate light because of the photosynthesis. So, it looks like something like this, where you have a bulb like structure, solar radiation strikes on it, and then there is water also here and algae is there. So, CO2 gets absorbed and then oxygen is released, and because of photosynthesis electricity is produced or light is produced. So, it produces light sufficient for outdoor use. Then we will look at IoT based site circulation techniques. So, there is a German company called Solmove, and it's actually a startup that is currently developing a flexible carpet which is embedded with solar cells. Developing a form of flexible glass carpeting which is embedded with solar cells. So, this surface will work by deflecting light at different angles so that the energy is captured in the cells below it. So, the surface is meant to be installed on footpaths or bike lanes or flat roofs in order to generate greater quantity of renewable solar energy. This energy can then be used for lighting the street or for anything else, say like using for no, operating a traffic signal or things like that. So, it is a very upcoming technology which is trying to be developed or experimented with by a startup. And then here you see there is emitter layer of solar cell and there is a base layer of solar cell. After that you have the other layers like the bottom electrode, there is a adhesion layer, there is a diffusion barrier layer, say this is the diffusion barrier layer, this is the adhesion layer, and then you have the base layer of solar cell, and then you have the emitter solar cell, and then you have various other things like AI bonded pad and metal line, and then there is a top electrode. So, top electrode, and then there is the dielectric layer. So, all of this in combination supposed to give out energy with the help of solar PV cells, which can be used either for lighting of the site or any other energy requirement, say like charging mobile phones or in various points of the site, or using this for running the traffic signal. So, it can be used for any of these purposes. And then we look at flood warning system on site. So, flood warning system and flood level monitoring systems are important because flood warning system is a way of detecting the threat in advance so that we are prepared for it. Its aim is to prevent loss of life and extensive damage due to floods by predicting the possibility of floods in advance. So, this system will work based on understanding the water level in the dam or nearby water body or ground level water, and also temperature variation that is happening in nature. So, when water level reaches the predefined level, it automatically sends a message or alerts the nearby authorities, and at the same time this message is also passed on to the general public so that there is no lag or delay in time to transfer the information from the authorities to the general public. So, this system can provide a voice based alert to flood prone areas. It helps the differently challenged people to understand the alert. Now, the effective flood warning system is useful for early warning and disaster prevention. There are three levels of alert: the yellow alert, the orange alert and red alert, depending on the extent of predicted damage or on the extent of flooding that is predicted. So, when water level reaches those corresponding points, then the alert is sent immediately to authorities and also to the general public, or the alert is passed to the buildings where these monitors are placed. So, these are basically flow sensors which are connected to wireless transmitters or mesh network, and then there are various levels of sensors: soil moisture sensor, rain gauge sensor, level sensor and flow sensor, and all of these work together with correlating with each other and give a early flood warning to the authorities as well as the people. Now, the wet flood proofing will include permanent or contingent measures which are applied to a structure or its contents that prevents or provides resistance to damage from flooding while allowing flood waters to enter the structure or the area. Generally, Generally, this includes properly anchoring the structure when you use flood resistant materials below the base flood elevation, thereby protecting the mechanical and utility equipment, and also use openings or breakaway walls. The application of wet flood proofing is a flood protection technique that is limited to enclosures below the elevated residential and non-residential structures and to accessories or other structures that have been issued variances. Usually, the structure is elevated by about 0.6 to 1.5 meter above ground level for wet flood proofing. So, basically lift the structure also and also allow it to be flood proofed. It means do not restrict the water. When flood happens, let the water flow through it so that the building does not get damaged. So, in today's class, we saw what all are the techniques and gadgets that can be used for resource conservation in office buildings. Of course, some of the techniques are common to residential buildings, commercial buildings. It's your creativity to apply these techniques, because my aim is to actually open you out to all these techniques or gadgets which can be used for resource conservation in a very comprehensive and holistic manner. With this, we will stop today's class and continue in the next class with another topic. Thank you.